out there? How's everybody there in Facebook and YouTube land? Yeah, nice day, late summer. Actually, it's early fall technically. We just hit fall last week. And it's starting to feel like it a little bit. We're going to be dropping from the late summer where we're having to cut. We're walking out in shorts and t-shirts to where we're going to be wearing light jackets and stuff, especially in the morning. But it's really nice today. Not a cloud in the sky. People are out fishing on this lake where I'm at. There's a trail. Saw some bikers going by. Really nice. The falls here are the best, in my opinion. You can't beat the falls here in where I live. And my team played, the Vikings. They lost. They're playing over in London, I guess. We only got some snippets of the game. But they came back. I thought they were going to get whooped again, but they actually came back and held their own and were in the game. So I'm proud of them for that. I don't really follow it all that much or all that seriously, but it gives me something to talk about, either on Facebook or, in real life. I can talk about it with other people, kind of know what's going on. Almost like the news, really. Mainstream news, that is, because I don't believe hardly a word of what they say, but it gives me something to talk about with other people. With that being said, if it was my ideal life, I'm kind of shooting for a little bit, possibly. We'll see what happens, but I believe God's in control of it. I'd like to be living over somewhere in Europe, off the Mediterranean, southern part, Spain, Portugal, one of those areas, Greece, working on a farm or a ranch or something, pounding out a living doing that, doing what I like, being away from mainstream society with all its discontents and problems, conflicts, being constantly maligned and whatnot. So yeah, that's something to shoot for. But in the meantime, this is my thing, and this is what keeps me going, and this is what just keeps my keeps me going, keeps me inspired, keeps me on my toes. Refuse to accept your fate. Constantly challenge yourself. This is, like I said, I'm giving these tips to other guys. Challenge yourself. Refuse to accept your fate. And whatever modern women want you to be, you be the opposite. Be the opposite. You're defying them to the utmost. Because yes, I do blame them to a very large degree, especially white liberal women. I blame them to a large degree for what's going on right now and the fate of men right now. It's their fault because they would never own up to it and still aren't. So, with that being said, I'm out here as a you could call me a role model or a example of defiance against what they want and what they expect from somebody like me. I'm the example. You just be the example of everything they hate and everything they dislike in a man. You be that. And as they've proved, time and time again, they really don't know what they want. They really don't know what's good for them. And I'm just going to kind of wrap it up here with, I'm not really into promoting a political group anymore. Even the conservatives and the Trumpsters. I've been disappointed with them too. Case in point, a great example of this, about a little over a year ago, I was at me and my buddy that I go fishing with, that I like to show on Facebook. We do these fishing outings over somewhere not too far from here, off a pier. And we usually catch our share of fish, bass and crappie. And we did this year too, or that year too. Anyways, when we were kind of celebrating our catch and cleaning them up, at the end, there were two guys that were sitting on this bench right by us, and I was wearing my Trump shirt, which says "We the People are fed up," and has a picture of Trump, and it said Trump 2024. Anyway, and I'm still glad I voted for him, but I've been disappointed with the followers, because these are two guys and they said they like my shirt, and I'm like, oh well, obviously we're on the same team, I guess, huh? And these guys were a couple of blue collar dudes that I used to be aligned with, white blue collar dudes, white working class. The population that the Trump guys, that the Trumpsters appealed to a lot, or that Trump appealed to a lot. So anyways, I thought I'm going to talk to these guys on some issues, varying issues about, well, the one guy said, my big thing about why I wanted to vote was because of guns. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's a good thing, obviously. I'm definitely pro Second Amendment, but then I said, here's the thing, though. Trump seems to be doing something about those who can't protect themselves, the innocent that can't protect themselves, especially like babies. Because if there's any, this should dismantle the social justice, quote unquote, modern day social justice movement, but it doesn't seem to. Well, it's because they have backwards morality, upside down morality. So, but there's nothing more helpless and is the voiceless cause that needs to be stood up for as a child in the womb hasn't been born yet, and can't protest their own innocence and not wanting to be killed, and having someone speak up for them. That would be the biggest, to me, that would be the biggest example of something you should stand up for as a social justice warrior. But of course, they're not according to them, it's a fetus and not a human being. I don't want to go there. But even these guys, and this was a disappointment for me, a sore disappointment that they, I brought that up and they go, oh, well, they turned into these beta cucks and started quivering and quaking and, oh man, we can't be fucking around with women's health care now, what about that? And I just went, oh no. It was just kind of a sinking feeling in my gut. And we got to arguing a little bit, and then I just, I actually just kind of said, whatever, forget it. I'm not gonna. If you're of that ilk, I now see that even in the Trump camp, there's a lot of betas in the Trump camp, and a lot of men that really don't stand for much, besides guns, which that's an important issue, but at the end of the day, if all you have is your guns, that's better than nothing. But if the government has more, they're going to take them from you too anyway. So with that being said, I'll wrap this up here. I want to be an encouragement and a challenge to men to stand up and be the example the youth want and what modern women hate. And that's about all I can say. And with that, that's all I have. We'll catch you next time. Later.